Hello everyone, hope everyone is doing well. Today we're going to start in a seated position and we are going to use the handy yoga block. So if you have a block like this that's kind of a cushy one, that's a good thing to use. You can also use one that's wooden. Some yoga blocks are wooden. And if you don't happen to have a block, that's totally fine. Feel free to use a book, or you can use a cushion. You could also use a stuffy, anything that works for you that you can basically hold between your hands or between your legs. You'll see what we're doing later with the block. So anything that'll work. And this, using the block, using props, can be really helpful sometimes in helping you with the pose, especially if you're tight in a specific area. But it also helps to bring some awareness to the pose that you're in. So we will discover some of this as we go further into the class. But first of all, let's just start in some centering. So get yourself comfortable in a seated position. A block is a really good thing to use if you want to sit up a little bit higher, or you can use a cushion or a rolled up blanket or towel. That's always a good thing too. So while you are getting settled, just let those sit bones drop down and see if you can really feel from the tailbone all the way up to the base of the neck, some lengthening happening through the spine. And then you can just take your hands to your knees, or perhaps they're more comfortable in your lap. And just close your eyes. Allow the breath to just flow freely in and out of the body. Focusing on the breath can really help us calm the mind. Calm those butterflies we can get in our bellies sometimes when we're anxious about something. It can also help you soften in the shoulders and in the body where you might be feeling a bit tight. So this is time for you to just see if you can soften and let go a little bit. So gently bring your focus back. We're just going to take our hands to our knees as we gently open up the eyes. And if you've slouched a little, just sit up a little bit higher. Good. We're just going to do a little bit of seated cat-cow to get a bit of motion happening. So with your hands on your knees, let's inhale and bring the belly and the heart forward. And you might lift the chin slightly. And then on an exhale, round your back, tuck your belly, and drop the chin down towards the chest. Again, inhale, come forward, keeping those shoulders open, chest open, belly forward. And exhale, round your back, tucking that belly in and dropping the chin. Again, inhaling, coming forward. And exhale, rounding the back and tucking the belly and the chin. One more time each way. Inhale, reaching up. And exhale, rounding and tucking. Good, and then just come back to center and just do a little roll of the shoulders. Good. And let's just switch legs so the other one's in front, just to change things up a little bit. Okay, so now let's use our block. Already. Let's take the block in our hands. And if you have a cushion, again, you can do the same thing. And basically, you're not going to be gripping the block really hard. Just place it between the palms and gently press the hands in towards that. So if it's a cushion, it's the same thing. You're basically holding it in place so it doesn't fall to the ground. Okay? So now you're going to straighten your arms. Try to keep that spine nice and long, and again, drop down through the sit bones. Keep a little bit of pressure on the block. And on an inhale, we're just going to lift the arms up overhead. And then on your exhale, take the block back down again. So try to keep those shoulders back and down. Inhale, lift up. You're just holding the block in place. So it's really gentle. Exhale, lower the block down. Good. Again, inhale, lift up. And exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, lower down. Good. Just one more. Inhale, lifting up. And exhale, let's lower down. Good. And then just place the block beside you and roll the shoulders again. Just shaking out the arms a little bit. Good. Nice. Okay, we're going to grab this block again, but now we're going to straighten our legs, okay? And let's keep these legs active. So having those toes lifting up through the spine as well. We're going to take the block in the same way. So just again, gently holding it in place. So there's a little bit of pressure in. We're going to inhale, lift the block overhead. So we're in this nice 90-degree angle. Now, from here, let's just tuck that belly in and lean forward. So feel free to soften your knees if you like. But see if you can reach the hands forward. Inhale, just to get a little more length, and then exhale, reach forward. Oh yeah, you might be able to feel this in the hamstrings and in the glutes. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, and then exhale, reach forward. Good. Now, if you happen to be able to get the block on the other side of the feet, you can even place it at the feet and just pull the chest forward a little bit. If not, just hold where you are. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Don't forget to breathe. Good. And then inhale, lift the arms up again, and then just take the block down. And again, roll the shoulders and shake out the arms. Good. You can just move around a little bit to let that all go. So when I was saying bend your knees, you can really do that. You can hold them in place, but the handy block also is really good underneath those knees. So if you have two blocks, that's perfect. And just rest your legs there, especially if you're tight in the hamstrings. Or a cushion, right? Or a blanket or something. That's really good. Now, we're going to do that same forward fold, but with the block in a different position. We're going to take it to that sort of medium level. We're going to place it right between the thighs. I know, kind of strange. So what you will probably notice is this. If you let go of the legs, just let them flop open, nothing's really happening in this area, right? So to think about engaging the legs, because sometimes I say turn in those inner thighs and engage your legs and have the toes pointing up. Think about turning the legs in towards that block so that they are engaged, the toes are pointing up. But just like you did with the hands, you're just gently holding that block in place, right? So if you were standing, it wouldn't fall. And you can feel a little bit of engagement in the thighs, and that's also what you want to feel without the block. So let's lift ourselves up again, because we're going to come back into this forward fold, gently holding that block in place. Inhale, and then exhale, lean forward. Now, because this is in place, you're probably not going to go as far as you normally would, but let's try again. Inhale, get nice and long, and then exhale, bend your elbows and lean forward. Good. And you can keep playing with where the hands are. Maybe they're at the shins, maybe they're on the floor beside you, or maybe you've got the big toes. Inhale, lift up, get nice and long. Exhale, bend your elbows, Lean forward. Are your legs still engaging? Holding that block in place. Inhale, get nice and long. Exhale, lower back down. Good. One more breath. Inhale. And then exhale. Good. And then lift yourself back up. Good. Just remove that block. And again, you can just shimmy and shake and loosen everything up. Okay. We're going to come right up to standing, and we're going to find a few more ways we can use the block. Okay? So come on up, and let's just release the hips a little bit, just moving around slightly. Now we're going to come into our mountain pose, and we're going to use the block again. So just like we did in a seated position, you're going to take this block, and again on the sort of the second level. This is a pretty wide block too. There are thinner ones out there. You're going to place it between the legs. And again, just hold it in place. So remember when we were seated, I said if you were standing, you're going to hold it like it's not going to fall. And that's exactly what you're doing now. So you're rooting down through the feet. Toes are spread. Good. Root down right into the floor. Lift up through those legs. And you will feel, I'm sure, with this block, some engagement in the legs, right? Some engagement in the thighs. Good. Breathing here. Feeling that engagement. Nice. Now, keeping that where it is, we're going to lift up our arms overhead, and then we're going to bend the elbows so we're in this cactus kind of shape with our arms. Now, we're going to open and close, but you're going to keep that engagement in the legs. So let's inhale, lift the heart, take those elbows back for a really nice opening across the chest. And on an exhale, bring those arms together. You can even drop the head a little bit. Inhale again, opening, lifting the heart, taking those elbows back. Exhale, bring the arms together, just dropping the gaze. Inhale again. And exhale. Are your legs still engaged? Inhale, open. And exhale, bring them back together. Let's just do one more. Inhale, opening. And exhale, closing. Good. And then open the arms just to center and take the hands down. Good. And again, you might want to roll the shoulders a little bit. Great. Now, keep your legs where they are, but remove the block. You're going to hold on to it. Do you feel a difference now? See if you can remember what it felt like to have the block between the legs. Keep rooting down through the feet and keep the engagement in the legs. Good. Now, we're going to bring that block back to our hands again. Again, just gently holding it in place. We're going to lift up the arms. Inhale. And the arms don't have to go behind you, right? That gets a real strain in the shoulders. So keep the biceps a little bit in front. Stay rooted through the feet. Keep that engagement in the thighs. And you're going to lean over to the right. So don't move the head too much. And you're just leaning in the torso, right? Keeping some weight in both feet. Rooting down through that left foot in particular. Breathe here. Feel the length all the way down the left side. Good, and come back up to center and then lean over to the left. So you're still holding that block in place gently, really opening up the front body and the side body, staying rooted through the feet. And breathe here. Good. Come on back up and then just take the block back down. And in fact, we'll place it on the floor for a moment. Good. And you can just bend one knee at a time, get the cracks out, and let things be nice and loose. Okay, we're going to do a pose without the block for right now, and then we'll come back to it. So we're going to come into dancer pose. This is a balance pose. So you might want the wall for this, for your left hand. Let's start with our hands on our hips, rooting down through the feet. And the easiest way to get into this position is to lift up the right knee, hold on to it with your right hand, Slide the hand down to the ankle and then drop that knee down. Okay? So I want you to think about finding a focus in front of you that's not moving. Dropping that knee. Think about weight on the knee getting pulled down towards the floor. And then squeeze those thighs in towards each other as if you are holding that block again. Good. Now, keep the shoulder blades coming together so you can open up the heart. Then press the foot into the hand and you'll feel a really nice opening in the front of the thigh. So feel free to stay here. You may want to lean forward a little bit and keep pressing that foot into the hand, really opening up the shoulder. But it's up to you how far you want to go. Breathe here. Breathe here. And then come back. Let's release the foot and lift up the knee. And then take the foot back down. Great. And then we'll do the same on the other side. Okay, hands on the hips. Good, let's lift up the left knee, holding it with your left hand. And then slide the hand down to the ankle. Good. So open up the heart by squeezing those shoulder blades together, keeping your focus forward. Now drop that left knee down as if it's getting pulled to the mat. Bring the legs together. And then start pressing the foot into the hand. You'll feel some opening in the thigh, in the heart area, and in that left shoulder. And if you want, you can lean a little bit, keeping the gaze forward, but continue to press that foot into the hand. Breathing here. Lots of breath. And then come back to center, lift the knee up, and then place it back down. Nice. And just, again, shake things out side to side. Perfect. Okay, I told you we were coming back to the block, and this is where we're going to do it. All right. We're going to come back to having the block between the legs. We're going to come into Utkatasana, chair pose with it. And you'll notice again that with the block between the legs, they're really engaging. And it's really important to think about that in this pose. So you can try it with the block, and then later you can try it without if you like. So place that block between the legs again. Just get into that good position of rooting down through the feet and holding the block in place. Okay, I'm just going to turn sideways. And we'll start with hands on the hips. So in this pose, we're just going to come into it slowly. You're going to bend your knees and you're going to send that tailbone back. Can you feel the legs staying engaged? So breathe here and just hold. Hold this position. Feel like you're holding that block. You cannot drop it to the ground. You must hold it. Well done. Good, and then just come back up again and straighten the legs. Okay, we're going to come down again, but we're going to add arms. So again, sending the sit bones back as if you're sitting in a chair, drop that tailbone. Lift up through the lower belly. And then to come into the arms, you can lift the arms up overhead, bringing the palms together, taking the gaze up. You can always drop the arms down a little bit lower, or you can just keep them up and keep sending the triceps forward. Breathing. Good. And then come back up to standing to straighten the legs and relax those arms. Good. We're going to come back into it again, and then we're going to start folding forward. So, bending down again. Let's lift up these arms. Inhale. And then on your exhale, slowly bring the hands to heart center. Start leaning towards the thighs. And then take the hands down and start lifting the tailbone to come into a forward fold. So you're still holding that block. Still holding it. Drop the head down. The hands might be on the shins. Your knees might be bent, but you're still holding that block and dropping the top of the head down towards the floor. Breathing here. Good. Nice. Good. Let's lift up the head. We're going to remove this block and we're going to come back to downward facing dog. So just step the feet back and open up the shoulders, lengthening through the arms, through the legs. Lift that belly up and breathe here. Just turning the head side to side gently. Good. And then come on back down to your knees. We're going to come into a kneeling position here. So if you can, tuck your toes. You can move the baby toes out of the way. And you might even be able to lean back on the feet, but if it's really too much, just stay forward in this position. But if you can, lean back and start opening up those feet a little bit. It feels good. Good, and then come forward. Now, we're going to use this block again, of course. So, if you need to, release the feet and just sit on your heels. If not, you can stay up in this position on your toes. And we're going to hold onto our block. Good. So again, holding it in place between the hands. Let's lift the block up. Good. And now we're going to do a little bit of a twist. So turn the torso to the right. Good. And then if you can, drop the block down a little bit here. Lift it up. Turn to the center. Good. And anytime you can release those toes. Turn to the left. Drop the arms down. Lift up. Come to center. And then bring the block all the way down. Definitely untuck those toes. Tap the feet a little bit. And you can sit down again. Good. Ah, nice. Okay, we're going to do that one more time. So again, you choose if you want to keep opening up those toes or not. So leaning forward, if you're going to tuck your toes, just move the baby toes out of the way. Let's come into holding our block again. So let's inhale, lift the block up. Good, turn to your right. Lower the arms just a little bit. Come on back up, come back to center, turn to the left and lower the arms. Good, lift up again, come back to center and then lower all the way down. Whew. Move the block to the side, untuck those toes and just tap the feet a little bit. You can turn the ankles and let's come down to a seated position. Ah, nice. And just let everything shake out, shake out, shake out. Well done. Okay, let's just come into a little bit of a hip opener and then I'm going to take you into a little more of a restorative position using the good old block. So let's bring our feet together. Good. So this is another position where you can sit on one of these handy dandy things or you can place one under each knee and it helps you just stay supported if you aren't quite as open in the hip area. Okay? So let's inhale, lift up, and we're going to exhale and come forward. Now, you can take your hands to the floor. You can also take your block here and you can have it on the high position and rest the arms. You can have it on the mid position and rest your arms, or you can have it down on the lowest position and rest your arms. So you choose where you want to be. You can also just come down to the floor and not use the block. Whatever position you are in, take a nice deep inhale and feel the length. And on the exhale, release and allow some opening to happen in those hips. You can even swish side to side a little bit just to feel a little bit more open in the hips and in that lower back. Good. Inhale again and lengthen. Exhale, release. Just keep some nice smooth breath happening for the next few breaths. allowing some release. And if you happen to be on the high level of your block, you might want to change it. Maybe take it down a bit more. Maybe you move it out of the way and come right down to the floor. It depends. And you might even be able to reach the hands forward and drop your head. Maybe you use the block to rest your head on so that it's supported while the rest of the body's really working. Breathe here. Feel the breath. Good. And let's lift up and walk the hands back to the legs. Nice. We'll just move the block over to the side. And lift up those knees. Shake out the legs. And we're going to come down onto our backs. So we've been using the block in lots of different ways. So we're going to use it as a nice support again. A little bit of a supported back bend. Okay, so let's come down onto our backs. And let's just start with hugging the knees because that always feels good. Rocking side to side a little bit. I'm doing a little bit of a stretch. So taking the legs down, reaching the hands overhead. Good. And then come back so that your knees are bent and your feet are flat on the floor. Now, if you happen to be very open in the back, or eventually you will be, you can start lifting again the levels of the block. But we're going to start on the very lowest level. And this could be, again, a cushion or a book or something. So it's good with a book because you can have different sizes of books to make this work. So we're coming into a little bit of hip lift. So let's just do a couple before we use the block. Taking the hands by the heels. Inhale, lift those hips. Taking the knees towards the toes and then just lowering down and releasing. Good. Press down and lift the hips up again. Good. And then lowering down. So let's use the block now. You're going to lift yourself up. You're going to slide the block just under the sacrum here. And then rest. When you come down, just like you did before, rest your sacrum on the block and allow yourself to be, the rest of the body to be soft and relaxed. So you might need to shift where this is. If you feel like going higher, you can lift that block up a little bit higher to come into a little bit of a deeper back bend here, but you sure don't have to. You can keep it down. Now try to find that comfortable position and see if you can really release. So try not to engage the glutes right now. Try to keep the arms nice and open and the shoulders soft. Let's take a nice deep inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Good. And just take a few moments here to keep your breath nice and smooth. To notice some of the letting go that can happen in the hips and that lower back when you're in this position. See if you can feel some release through the glutes. And continue to allow those shoulders to stay nice and soft. Now, if it feels really intense, of course, change what you're doing and just come down onto your mats. Otherwise, stay here and feel this nice opening across the front, but also some release in the back. Good. Now, we're going to come into Shavasana. So if you want to stay here, feel free to do that. You might adjust where your block is and just feel that this is really comfortable. You can stay on the block and straighten the legs, or you can keep them bent and just do Shavasana like you always do except with the block supporting the sacrum. Otherwise, remove the block and just take everything down to the mat. You might want to just swish the knees side to side for a moment. Good. Let everything go. Let's do another nice deep breath through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Just allow yourself to really sink down, to feel the relaxation. Notice the breath slowing. Coming back to that place where the mind is calm and the body is feeling relaxed. Take your time here. As much time as you like in this rest position. And I hope the block may have helped you today. Maybe you learned something new about a pose, about your own body, and feel free to use the block in a regular class. Enjoy your day, everyone. Namaste.